Welcome back, beautiful tri-state area. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. I'm your host, Zen Sams. Welcome back to the Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift. In our Expert on the Microphone series, today we're joined by Jessica Ourisman. She's a freelance writer and beauty editor for publications such as Forbes, Harper's Bazaar, Allure, Elle, POPSUGAR, and that's just to name a few. Her professional coverage includes celebrity interviews and reporting in beauty, fashion, and wellness, spanning topics ranging from skincare, cosmetics, and plastic surgery to health, integrative wellness, and functional medicine. She's going to join me right now to chat about how the media is shaping the conversation around aesthetics and how she identifies and breaks down the latest cutting-edge skincare treatments and products in her work. Welcome to the show, superstar.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
I'm so excited to have you, my expert. Let's dive right in. So you've written for some of the most iconic publications in beauty and wellness. What initially drew you to this space, and how do you break down sometimes complex medical topics for the average reader in a way that's both informative and approachable?
So I wanted to be a writer, and it really just came down to the fact that beauty and wellness are my passions. And during grad school, so originally my career was to be a therapist, but during grad school, I developed really intense hormonal acne. Through that experience, I learned so much about the skin. After my big break into writing, it was a fashion editor that sort of mentored me and took me under her wing. And so that's how I had the in to write about beauty. And then as for breaking down sort of tough medical topics, what it really comes down to is asking my experts so many questions. I mean, an annoying number of questions.
I love that.
I get really detailed until I feel like I understand. And then it's kind of just like having a conversation with the reader.
That's amazing. And as someone whose work revolves around the latest advancements in the beauty and wellness world, why do you find it so crucial to understand and clearly explain the science behind the treatments you cover? I mean, why should consumers look beyond the before and after photos and take the time to research and understand the science before committing to a treatment?
It really comes down to proper informed consent. And the reason I say that is that particularly with certain invasive procedures, what you're hearing, the marketing jargon is often misleading and different from what's actually happening. It becomes even more complicated because experts often disagree. So it can become really tricky. It really comes down to being an informed consumer and understanding what's happening so that you can make the best decision for what will work for you, and also understand what can potentially go wrong, because you don't often hear that.
Yeah, doing the research is so critical, and I love that writers like you are out there doing the research for us. It's great. Now, let's chat a bit about CO2 Lift, a company with products that have certainly proven to have staying power and heavy scientific backing. I know you're a big fan of the CO2 Lift Pro Gel Carboxy Mask and have spoken highly about it online, and are even quoted saying, worked magic on your facial dermatitis, taking away the redness with a single application. I mean, that's a pretty big endorsement. Talk to me more about your experience with the mask and what makes it a staple in your routine.
So this actually ties into what we were just talking about. I was assigned a story for a laser that caused me to develop persistent and chronic facial dermatitis. In the beginning, I had no idea what to do to get rid of it. Never had it before. It was almost like the tip of my nose was chafed and wouldn't heal, and it started spreading from my nose down to the side of my mouth. Dermatologists were prescribing me all sorts of things. I remember I had to give a celebrity interview, and I had dermatitis on my face, and I was so embarrassed. So through that process, what I'd essentially learned is that this laser had so dried out my skin and compromised my barrier that my skin's microbiome fell into dysbiosis. So from then on, treatments that would help restore my skin barrier and also bring the microbiome back into balance became critical. So CO2 Lift is incredible for the skin barrier and takes away redness. I mean, I use it after laser treatments, after microneedling, but I also do it weekly. And when I have a dermatitis flare, it's so anti-inflammatory and soothing that it becomes one of the first steps. But the other thing to note is that I use it in conjunction with a microbiome serum by BioJuve, which is important to do because oxygenating treatments are great, but they can kill off bacteria that is essential for the balance of your skin biome.
Yeah, it makes total sense. It's all interrelated. And aside from CO2 Lift's monotherapy benefits, it's also often paired with in-office treatments pre or post procedure to enhance both the results and recovery, again, utilizing the body's natural oxygenation process to increase that blood flow. But now, recently as a whole, regenerative medicine has taken the aesthetic world by storm, if you look at it, from exosomes to PRP and stem cell derived ingredients. In your experience, what are some of the most exciting or credible, if you will, innovations you've seen emerge in this area?
One, nanofat. They will harvest a little bit of your fat. They purify it through a series of grates so that what you're left with, there's no more of the volumizing tissue, but you still have all the regenerative ingredients that are supporting the fat cell. So certain cytokines and growth factors, and they're at this concentration that makes it so much more powerful than, say, PRP. And of course, the other big ingredient are the stem cells. So what they do with nanofat, they can either combine it with PRP or on its own, inject it via a cannula under the skin. So that's the first one, nanofat. The other thing that is starting to become really big is called a secretome. And so there are serums on the market that will take a donor stem cell, and what makes the stem cells so magical for anti-aging or healing is what it secretes. So if they put it in a dish in a lab and culture it, and it's secreting all of these growth factors and cytokines, the very same ingredients I was mentioning for nanofat, they can collect them, put them in a serum, and you can apply it topically. But what a company actually called Acorn Biolabs is starting to do now, instead of taking your own fat, which was pretty invasive, they pluck 50 hairs from your head. They're able to extract your stem cell from the hair follicle, and then they bank it. And
Wow.
yeah, so they proliferate it in the lab, and they're able to collect those same regenerative ingredients from your stem cell, turn it into a serum, and then when you go in for a microneedling treatment or a laser, instead of having blood drawn for PRP, you have your secretome of your very own stem cell secretions that you can apply to your face afterwards. And
Wow.
I was just the first journalist actually to do that like 2 weeks ago. And I think that's something that's really exciting just because how it's revolutionizing the ability to harvest your stem cell and then use those regenerative ingredients.
Wow, so fascinating. Stuff like that blows my mind. I learn something new every day on this show by the experts, and it's amazing that you broke it down so easily. Like I actually understand what it does and what it's for. So thank you for that clarification. And now lastly, before we wrap up, as someone who has their finger on the pulse of both the beauty and media industry, what role do you think the media plays in shaping healthier or more mindful conversations around aesthetic treatments today?
I think it's really important not just to repeat what brands and experts are saying, but to learn to discern between the experts. I learned pretty early on that experts that I love even will disagree on just about everything. So when I'm reporting, rather than trying to take a stance, often it's hearing the discourse between the experts and then putting that out there, because again, I think that's what empowers the reader or consumer to be able to make proper informed consent with their decision making and their, aesthetic and wellness trajectory.
Yeah, and media is responsible for a lot of misinformation, and so is TikTok, and so is Instagram. So I love that the real journalists that are writing about these procedures, like yourself, are out there at the front lines, demystifying all those stigmas, right? So thank you for doing a great job and for keeping us informed.
I try to.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It was such a pleasure having you. I learned so much, and I know so will the audience.
Thank you so much again.
That was our Going Deep segment brought to you by CO2 Lift, and that was the incredible Jessica Ourisman, beauty and wellness journalist and editor. You can learn more about her and check her out on the gram at Jessica Gray Ourisman, and you can head directly to her website at jessicagray.ourisman.com. And her name is spelled in a unique way. It's Jessica Gray, Ourisman. You're listening to A Moment of Zen right here on 710 WOR, the voice of New York, iHeartRadio. We'll be right back after this.
A Moment of Zen is brought to you by CO2 Lift. As we age, our skin loses moisture and elasticity, causing wrinkled skin. You can reverse this aging process with CO2 Lift. CO2 Lift utilizes the powerful benefits of carbon dioxide to lift, tighten, and regenerate your skin. This simple, painless at-home carboxytherapy treatment is scientifically proven to reverse the aging process. You will see reduction in wrinkles, increase luminosity, and improve pigmentation, sagging, skin tone, and radiance.
For more information or to order CO2 Lift, ask your skincare professional or go to co2lift.com.